Let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. I am merely Beau. He is the great Z. This is Cleveland Browns Daily. It is Battle of Ohio week. 5-3 Bengals, 4-4 Cleveland Browns, and monster game. And yes, there are things going on off the field that will continue. We do have the news this morning that Odell Beckham Jr. was excused from practice for a second consecutive day. Several of our players have talked about it. Our quarterback talked about it yesterday. And so that is the backdrop, certainly. And I think, boy, you want to talk about a challenge for Kevin Stefanski and this organization right now. There is still so much to play for. You are a 4-4 football team. You are in the mix. This is an AFC that I think you can throw 10, 11 teams in a hat, pull one out, and say, do you think this team could represent the AFC in a Super Bowl? And you go, yeah, I can buy it. It's wide open. This ain't the NFC where there's 5 teams that have separated. It's not that. It's wide open. This is a critical game, and you have got to be able to find a way to have your focus. Your focus will be tested this week. It has been this week. And now you will have that opportunity on Sunday. Wins cure a lot. There's no question about that. And that's what's at stake this weekend. Other than that, it's nothing. It's quiet.
Yeah, look, if there becomes a resolution or there becomes more information on the Odell situation, obviously we'll let you know. We'll get you the sound of coaches and players, everybody talking about it today, and just kind of the top level is the sense is that everybody here is willing to welcome him back with open arms and would love to see him come help this team be a winning football team. But whether you have him Sunday or not, and obviously it feels like not at this point,
yeah,
you have a huge game, and the Browns are desperate. You know, we're going to hear, I talked to Anthony Walker Jr., it's go time. Like, there's no more time. There's no more margin. We have got to go and feel like this is a playoff game. We've got to go down to Cincinnati, and as Kevin Stefanski says, in the NFL, the most desperate team often comes out on top. Well, the Browns are very, very desperate, and they're going to have to be able to put all these distractions aside, compartmentalize them, rally together with the guys that are here and able to play. And then they've got to go out and execute at a high level against a very, very good Cincinnati Bengals team that's 5-3, that's number 7 in scoring offense, number 6 in scoring defense. That's always an elite combination of stats right there that tells you basically all you need to know about if a team is winning more often than it's losing. And we've got to go. I mean, this season, to be 4-4 right now means you are very average. To quote our head coach, we were not expected to be very average. And so we have an opportunity now, 9 games to go, beginning this Sunday in Cincinnati, to become the team that we want to be, and it's all in our control. Think about who you play.
Oh, yeah.
You got 2 more against the Bengals, 2 more against the Ravens, 1 more against the Steelers. That's in your division. You got the Raiders. They're a playoff contender. You have got the New England Patriots, who are a playoff contender in your division. And then you've got, the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. The Packers are an elite team, but the Lions, hopefully, that is when you take care of business. But that's the 9 games. All 7 in the AFC are against teams that are competing with you right now, have your record or better, going for the playoffs. So it's in your hands. You can knock your competition off left and right, but it's got to start on Sunday.
Yeah, I think it benefits us tremendously that this game is in Cincinnati.
I agree.
I think there's a lot to that. Look, no one loves this home field more than we do. It's spectacular. You love the fans, the noise. At its best, it's as loud as any place in the National Football League. The support is infectious. It can overwhelm teams. We saw that against Chicago this season, where it just overwhelmed the rookie quarterback and the Bears. But I do think that when this team's at its best, its quarterback's at its best. This city, you could argue, sometimes is at its best when it's an us against the world mentality. And I think there's a real ability to bunker in that locker room in the lead up to that Cincinnati game. Buddy, Cincinnati knows what's at stake for them. They're 2-0 in this division already. They're 2-0. They've beaten the other 2 teams in this division. If they could move to 3-0 in the division with 3 wins spread out over all 3 opponents in the division, they're in the catbird seat. Anybody in the NFL knows this. The first thing you say is win your division. What does that do? Well, you're in the playoffs.
Guarantees a shot.
You're in the dance.
That's right.
That's the first objective. Nobody says win the Super Bowl. They say win the division in the NFL. It's not like college football in that sense. Win the division. To win the division, you have to beat the teams in the division. Cincinnati's got 2 wins already, in the 2 marks in the win column already on that point. So they have an opportunity to do that. They have an opportunity to get to 6-3, to drop us to 4-5, to continue to have separation there. It's personal for a lot of their players. It absolutely is.
Oh, swag.
You walk in the Senior Swag's closet. What's the shoe count?
Oh, numerous. Probably it's competing with your hat collection.
Greater than or equal to? Greater than, less than, equal to? I bet it's right there.
It's right there. I think that's a pretty good one. I think that's one that we'd have to bring in an official counter. We'd have to bring in like Arthur Anderson.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, you'd want some sort of accounting firm on that with some
Cohen
sort of
and
an
Company. My good friend S.
There you go.
We'll bring S in.
Bring S in?
As the official
Oh, my gosh. Can you imagine
accountant.
his enthusiasm for the job?
It would be the great zest.
I could sway him, though, with Buckeye Nuggets. I could sway him with Buckeye Nuggets to get me the win.
Well, yeah, and any Buckeye hat you had would be like, oh, that counts about 10. That one's worth 10.
Well, you know what he does with Michigan hats?
You throw them out right in the river.
Right in the river.
Known litterer.
Known litterer. It's known.
The police are involved.
Yeah, so that's where you're at, guys. That sets the table for where you are with this thing. It's all in front of you. The AFC is wide open. You still are. I was talking to somebody this morning about this. There's nobody that covers the league that doesn't think this is one of the most talented rosters. Everybody believes that it is.
And they're well coached. So it's,
of course,
why are we where we are?
Well, there's a lot of factors to that, right? Injuries certainly have played an enormous role. And one thing that has happened this week, I think, and certainly in the loss to Pittsburgh, is that there's some of the attention has been off the injuries. Now, no one's going to feel sorry for you. This is the league. Everybody gets injured. Look at Gibby's boy Kyle Shanahan and the injuries that they've had to endure the last couple of years. This is one of his great friends.
Yet they overcame last week.
They did overcome.
Yeah, good.
He's your friend. You're the one who said he's a gangster. You're the one who used to
gangster.
hang around with him all the time. Now all of a sudden you're turning on him.
You guys were boys in 2014.
You hate to see it. Hate to see that type of back turning out of you, Gibby. Like a little
Sad.
more loyalty.
Sad.
But injury, no one's going to feel sorry for you on the injury front. But there's a ton of factors that lead to this. Here's the thing that's painful. You're 4-4, and in 3 of them, you can say you have the ball to win it. That's the thing that's hard to rectify, and that's what can get fixed this week. Winning solves that. Winning makes that go away.
I don't know how many teams are in the league because I'm not able to go. Well, if we had Stevie, I would have given Stevie this research project.
Oh, my gosh. Where is Stevie right now, do you think?
Esteban. We need him. But the bottom line is...
Did he come back from Tokyo by chance?
I can't imagine...
Wasn't he at the Olympics?
I can't imagine that there are many teams who can say what the Browns can, which is that the Browns have been ahead after 3 quarters in 7 of their 8 games.
Wow, that's a great research project.
I can't imagine there are many. To put that in perspective, last year, we were ahead after 3 quarters in 9 of our 16 games. 7 out of 8 to be going into the 4th quarter with the lead is elite. I would bet it is less than 5 that have been, right. And that's not tied. That is with the lead going in the 4th quarter. 7 out of 8. Last year, we were 9-0 when we had the lead after 3 quarters. This year, we are 4-3. And that gets to the point that you're making about those 3 games. That's the difference. We have not been able to close. To be ahead after 3 quarters in 7 of 8 games is a staggering statistic. But these are 60-minute games. The last 15, some would say, counts more than the first 15, although that would be incorrect. They count equal. It just feels that the pressure is ratcheted up there. We need to figure out a way to close football games out. And I kind of feel like once we do it once against a good team, we're going to do it more often. The problem is we haven't done it against the good teams, and all we have left
is good,
other than Detroit, are good football teams. That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is good. In fact, I don't know if I think I'm right when I say this. There isn't a team remaining on our schedule other than the Lions with a losing record.
No, because everyone's either a playoff team or they're 4-4.
Right. Yeah. So we have this. It is a tough road to hoe. We are capable of doing it, of navigating it, of winning. That's who. If we want to be who we believe that we are, it starts now, and we must get it done. And we must do it. Unfortunately, as Baker Mayfield said, and we'll hear some of his comments in the next segment, Baker Mayfield said we have to multitask because of what's going on right now. Well, we need to be the best darn multitaskers in the National Football League this week then, and be able to turn our attention and sole focus into what we must do to beat a very, very good Cincinnati Bengals team.
Before I came over here today, the wife brought me lunch.
That's nice.
Yeah, so she brought a salad, but the other option was a vegetable soup.
Oh.
To me, there are no choices here. It's soup season, baby.
Oh, I made a lovely,
delicious veggie soup.
A bone broth chicken noodle last night with some pulled rotisserie chicken as the chicken in there. A little.
Did you get that? Did you get that in the pre-packed? Yeah.
The broth, yes, to make it for the quickness. But what are you talking about? The rotisserie?
No, I'm talking or did you make a chicken and pull it, or did you?
I bought a rotisserie chicken from Johnny Eagle. Does a great job.
They do a great job. Great spices on that. Yep.
And then I hand pulled it.
Yep. And
then put that in, the last 10 minutes. A bunch of garlic. We had some celery, obviously, some carrots, some parsnips, a couple of sweet onions.
I'll tell you, one of the real things about you, you're a real parsnip connoisseur.
I am.
Because it's in the beef soup recipe.
Oh, yeah, it sure is.
And that's a root
That's
vegetable.
probably why I like it so much.
Yeah, it could be.
From my childhood.
You're a big root vegetable guy. Like, you'll find a root vegetable, you'll tackle that. Those have great nutrients.
Oh, and great flavor. There, it gives a little
delicious,
air of richness and cinnamon coming out of that parsnip. And it was, and the secret is I always take a chunk of a fresh Parmesan block.
Oh yeah, okay.
And drop that into the soup at the very beginning. So as it boils, it kind of dissolves it out, and it just kind of gives a little bit of that richness to the whole soup experience that's happening. It was really dynamite. A delight. I throw a little spinach in at the end, right? The last minute or so.
Do you know I sign up for this day 10 days out of 10 over the previous 2 weeks? You want to take 20 degrees off my temperature?
And give me the sun.
Give me the sun.
Yeah.
Give me the vitamin D, kids. Gibby, you could play golf. Couple of gloves?
Sure. We have obligations.
Do we?
We do.
Oh.
We're on remote tonight.
Are we?
Yeah.
Where?
Grayton Road Tavern.
Oh, I love that place. That's great. That's great. I do like that. That's good. It's going to be fun. Very good. That's strong. So we have that to look forward to, which is nice.
Real nice.
Here's what you have to look forward to over the course of the next hour 45 here on this fine program. Z's going to talk with Anthony Walker. Jeff Hobson's on. I love having Jeff on. That's great. He's going to be chesty, too.
Hobson's emailed to me. How you holding up? Just great, Jeff. Just great. We'll see you at the bar.
He's going to be pretty chesty. He's chesty even when things aren't going good down there.
Oh, yeah.
And now things are going quite good. So, he's going to love talking
ask him about the interview cart that they keep trotting out in front of players.
I won't put him in that spot. He's a team employee.
He is.
So I don't do that with team employees. You're in a tough spot.
That might be his cart.
It could be. It might have been his idea.
I will get to the bottom
to throw the card out there. So there you have it. Coming up next, your quarterback, his press conference yesterday on everything going on off the field here. We will have some of the highlights of that. Those were your OBM Hunt topics. Ohio Business Machine, preferred copier provider, your Cleveland Browns. For all the X's and O's to your office, call 216-485-2000 or visit OhioBusinessMachines.com. We're off and running here on a Thursday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. And as you just found out in the last segment, the Kevin Stefanski Show broadcasts live tonight from Grayton Road Tavern, presented by our friends at Bud Light. Join us, 7 to 8, giveaways, drink specials. Browns legend Hanford Dixon on hand. That's tonight at 7, the Kevin Stefanski Show live from Grayton Road Tavern, presented by Bud Light. West side, right? West side. Yeah.
I'm glad that you
the best side.
I'm glad that you need
apparently it's the only side. According to
the north is to the lake.
According to the Kevin Stefanski Show, there's only the west side of Cleveland. The east doesn't exist.
On the west side.
Okay,
no
right. So, well, it's not like he's going to be there. Like it's just us.
Yeah, we may or may not have already taped with him.
Right. So it's not like he's going to be in the mix. Just us. I do like that place, though, so that'll be very, very fun. All right. Yesterday. Oh, but before we get to this, we'll play all this stuff. But first, the pure joy of, we were having a conversation in the break about soups, and it had a delicious soup, as I mentioned. And as we were talking, Gibby was talking about the soups that he's making, and of course, Z is a soup connoisseur. And at one point, Gibby said, "Forget the chili cook-off. Let's do a soup cook-off." To which Z, without skipping a beat and dead serious, says, "Melt some people's faces with the beef soup."
That's right. I'm going to melt some people's faces. That's right. Change their lives.
Is that a positive?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's it's a life changer. It's like you people. I know Thomas Modly, the former Secretary of the Navy. You'd think that he would have his life like pre-secretary, post-secretary. He actually judges his life pre-beef soup, post-beef soup.
Post-beef soup.
Yeah. Once he had that sweet nectar, changed his life. He actually went on a retreat with his boys. I want to say in Colorado, and he unfurled it on the boys. That's what he wanted. That's what he was bringing to the boys. Yeah,
I've made it. It's delicious. The thing that I appreciated so much in the making of it, you did this for me on your vegetable soup as well. Your handwritten notes, which I have, and to me they're a lot like the Declaration of Independence and National Treasure. Like, I'm going to hide them someday, and I'll pass them along to somebody else. But the specificity of your notes is
very specific.
Oh my God!
Just don't leave them in a dresser drawer that ultimately gets sold. And
can't
then
have
someone
that.
All of a sudden is making money.
Can't
off
have
of
that.
it.
No.
Jeez.
No, we can't have that. No. So that was I got to run that back. I think we're probably about a week or two away from beef soup.
We did the first beef soup when not Pedro was in town.
Pedro, you mean? We did have the trial of Pedro here.
That's
on this
right.
Program.
It was the Sunday of the Niners Colts Sunday night football game.
Colts won that game.
There was a atmospheric river, Gibbe.
Was that better than the meal that you had on Friday night with him? What would he say was the better meal?
No, a Friday night with the unbelievable Feudies was a highlight of anybody who's there. Was there's life. I mean, he said that was the best combination of food and wine he's ever had in his entire life. And this is a man who seeks out food and wine on the reg. Yeah. It was big comments, big statements. Beef soup is, it's not on that level, but beef soup is.
Boy, this is a man who has been known to go enjoy a wine tour, especially a scholarship wine tour.
Oh, yeah. He goes to Nap all the time. Yeah, especially. Yeah, he loves a scally.
Love a scally.
He loves a scally.
Who doesn't love a scally?
But, he's a man who is, I would say, a great percentage of his life has been dedicated to the pursuit of fine foods and fine wines.
Yeah.
And so here he is in his, 71st year on the planet. The week of his birthday, he reaches what he would call the summit. Kind of wonder, where do you go from there?
I don't know. Ask Sir Edmund Hillary. What happened?
I don't know.
That's right. All right. Baker's on scholarship at Oklahoma.
What I'm curious about right now, I feel like we're getting real incredible breathing from Gibbe right now. Is that going over the air, or is that just for us?
I never know if that's just for us or if that's over the air.
I think I was not on air.
Okay.
My mic was
well,
down. What do you mean by incredible breathing?
No, and there was a heavy breath.
Oh, that was definitely me after I potted it down. Yes.
Ashley Schaefer, BMW.
Well, I was looking. I'm like,
breath.
okay, now what do I do next? I got to cut up Alex Van Pelt for 145.
That could have easily been what I sounded like when I returned from the gym after today's Hoff workout, and I promptly lay down on the floor in this.
Bishop, I'm going to send you a picture. I sent it to his wife.
You took a picture?
Oh,
did you?
Oh, wonderful.
That's
what
great.
A real treat.
Oh boy!
All right, here was Baker yesterday, and I thought a really strong moment for the franchise quarterback here at the podium, addressing everything. He was an open book and incredibly honest. He doesn't know a whole lot of other ways. Here he is on the situation building with Odell.
This is something it's very unique. There's not a manual for this one. There's not a handbook to how to navigate this besides talk to people, see how they're feeling about it, and just keep it open, because this is one of those things that, like everybody can see it.
5 seconds.
A dividing thing, or it could be a rally cry, whatever you want to call it.
All right, here's Baker in terms of how winning solves a lot of it.
I mean, I would take anything to have a winning team right now.
It's about a minute, you're down.
Our focus needs to be on winning, and anything like this that's stuff that's created on the outside, drama-wise, takes away from the focus and attention to detail that we need to have, which is exactly the reasons why we haven't been able to win, as we haven't executed well enough, haven't schemed it up to be able to do that, and so I think a lot of this is frustration. That's the tension that's built up because we're not playing how we should be, and we want to be better. We want to be better than 500, but that's where we're at right now. So it's time to look at
10 seconds, you're hot again.
those things internally, because nothing on the outside is going to help us. It's only going to create drama, and that's just that's a fact.
Yeah, it certainly is. In terms of overcoming these obstacles this week and having to multitask, here's Baker.
This group has been challenged before, and so this is nothing different. This is a time for us to stick together as a team and not let anything else divide us. And that's how I'm going to handle it. I was brought here to do that, to bring people together, to win, and that's exactly how I'm going to handle it.
We've heard some of our other guys, from Batonio, John Johnson, talk about welcoming Odell back. If that is the case, here is Baker on that.
I'm prepared to do whatever, and if he's back, then we'll work through it and do whatever it takes. I can put my ego and pride to the side to win, because that's all I care about is winning. But if not, then we'll roll with the guys we have out there, and those guys will know that I completely trust them, and they'll know that I'm always here for them, and that's the leader, and that's the type of quarterback I am.
I think the thing that's tricky and this is the situation we're dealing with here, could be anywhere, could be any line of work. We talked about it earlier this week, even with the college football playoff, with anything. You just want to know where you are. What you hate is ambiguity, and that's the thing that we're kind of in right now, is just not knowing what's next. And in a way, it works for Coach Stefanski, because that's his mentality, and we've been around him now for a couple of seasons, and he isn't focused on anything more than the next step. He's not thinking about tomorrow or then. He's worried about today and solving this moment, and doesn't look beyond that. But it's human nature to wonder what's going to happen, and not knowing, I think it's tough.
I think that it creates a situation that is difficult, because when there is not resolution, when resolution does not exist, questions persist. And I think if you look at, this was yesterday with Baker, who I thought handled that very, very well. You look at John Johnson, you mentioned, who said, flat out, we want him back in the locker room. Joel Batonio says, I really don't know what's going on, but we want him back in the locker room. That's hard, and I think that the only thing that the Browns are going to be able to get into that's going to be able to allow them to overcome this distraction is to really pour themselves into this Bengals game. And quite frankly, the Bengals are deserving of that type of attention to detail, because without it, we will not win. And without it, this season, as Joel Batonio said, this season is on the brink. We are on the brink right now.
Yeah.
You should not take leads into the fourth quarter in 7 out of 8 games and be 4-3. You just shouldn't be.
No.
Or 4-4, I'm sorry. Total on the season. That if you are leading going in the final stanza, 7 out of your 8 games, you should be you'd like to be 7-1 at a 6-2 at worst, and we're 4-4. So opportunities have been squandered. There are no more opportunities left to be squandered. So you've got to focus, you've got to get in, you've got to rally, and you've got to execute at a high level. It is confusing. I think that this is a confusing situation now to everybody as to what's really going on.
Right, and regardless of what you hear from, you guys are seeing the same reporting that's being done by people who are as plugged in as anybody, and you're not getting a straight line from anybody, because I don't know that there is one. I mean, I think that's the conclusion you can draw.
Yeah.
I mean, usually with something like this, this is player side and it's known, and there isn't. There's no reporting to indicate that.
That's right.
There is no reporting to indicate the thoughts of Odell or his camp or the thoughts going forward. So there's nothing out there on that front. So there's a lot of wondering in terms of what's next, what's right now. So that's where you stand. In the meantime, you got Cincinnati, and they're a full day. And gambling without setting limits on how much you're going to wager or how long you'll play as a football team going into a game without a game plan, it's probably going to end up in a loss. So always set limits before you bet. Get more tips at keepitfunohio.com. We'll do our offense versus the Cincinnati defense, which is pretty good compared to where it was a year ago. We will get into that coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
ESPN Cleveland.
And when it comes to mattresses, Northeast Factory Direct really outdid themselves. Alex and company searched the entire country. They found the best factory, the best warranties, and now they have the latest technology in mattresses at a fraction of the cost to you. During Northeast Factory Direct's garage sale, you can win and find queen pillow top mattress starting at just $3.99, double-sided pillow tops for just $6.99. And when you buy that queen prestige mattress for $6.99 or king prestige mattress at $7.99, you're going to get a bundle of free stuff, a set of sheets, 2 pillows, mattress protectors. They've even got these Comfort Cool mattresses, premium hybrid mattresses that have all-natural cold-faced cover and layers of airflow comfort foam to keep you comfortable while you sleep. Check them out. I did. West 140th Street, Cleveland, Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, or Freeway Drive in Macedonia, or shop them online anytime at northeastfactorydirect.com. So much is made of Cincinnati's offense this year, and rightfully so. They are explosive. I don't know if do you see the stat from PFF on Jamar Chase? His 600 and some odd yards of his are in single coverage. It's more than double anybody else in the league. Which it begs the question, why is he seeing so much single? Like, how does that account for the safety?
Well, did you see who the other people were?
Yeah,
it was like Devontae Adams. Why is he ever single?
It was Devontae Adams and with the Texans.
Brandon Cooks.
Those were the two guys. So
especially on the Texans. Why wouldn't he
triple
everybody
Brandon
over
Cooks.
there? Yeah.
Right. But Jamar Chase making him kill. We'll get to their offense, and certainly so, because it's an exciting one. Their defense, though, has really been the story. And that, if you want to point to something that maybe you didn't project being this good and keeping them in games the way they have, it's their defense.
Yeah, coming into last week, they were the only defense in the league that had not allowed more than 25 points. They were top 10 in both scoring defense and in, as well, yardage defense, which means you're playing elite football. This is a good D, so they're going to give you a traditional 4-3. Trey Hendrickson is going to be on one edge, Sam Hubbard on the other. DJ Reader, who right now is their highest graded defensive player, 87.4 according to Pro Football Focus. That's elite. That is an elite number. And so when you go in and you look at this D, and next to him, they've got the very, very talented Larry Ogunjobi, which we know about as well, how good he is. DJ Reader right now, here are the people that are playing interior defensive line better than DJ Reader, according to Pro Football Focus. Cam Hayward, Aaron Donald, Jonathan Allen. That's it. That's the list. And when it comes to run defense, only Cam Hayward has a higher run defense grade, which is why they are a top 10 run defense. Sam Hubbard has come in, and he has been as good as advertised in terms of the guy that they paid and the guy that they were expecting to be a big factor for this football team. He's come in and he's demonstrated an ability to get to the quarterback, and that's really why he was brought here. He was brought to that football team and to that organization to get to the quarterback and was paid at a high level. In fact, they decided we want him over Carl Lawson, and Lawson, unfortunately, has lost his season due to injury. He's got 7.5 sacks this year. On the other side, a guy that everybody listening to this show, I would imagine, is familiar with, Sam Hubbard.
Yep.
Who I covered in my days at Ohio State.
That's right.
4 sacks on the season for Hubbard on the opposite side. So their two edges, 11.5 sacks so far this season, 1 forced fumble from Hendrickson. So they've been good. So you're stout up front in the middle with Ogunjobi and Reader and B.J. Hill. You are excellent on the edges with Hendrickson and Hubbard. Your linebacker, Logan Wilson, has 4 picks this year, which is, folks, that's in some ways, that's kind of a stunning one, right? And
it sure is.
That is, you wouldn't expected him to be amongst the league leaders in interceptions, and yet that's where he finds himself. And so Logan Wilson at that middle linebacker position is dangerous. Now, we went through the craziness of it, right, which is that he's allowed 38 completions on 45 targets, so that's 84%. He's given up a ton of yards in the middle of the field. And the only time he's gotten a PBU, he's picked it up. Here are your interception leaders in the league. Trevon Diggs, 7. Logan Wilson, 4. Kevin Byard, 4. I mean, if the odds that you could have gotten that Logan Wilson at this point in the season would be second in interceptions would have been astronomical in Vegas. And then you go to their back end. So their back end of the defense, where they made some changes. You bring in Chidobe Awuzie, you bring in Mike Hilton, Eli Apple. Those are your corners right now. Awuzie, we talked about earlier, is playing fantastic football. You get into their coverage grades, he's playing at a very, very high level. Your safeties, Von Bell and Jesse Bates. Von Bell was a guy that the Browns took advantage of last year. David Njoku had the touchdowns against him last season. This year, He is doing much better in coverage, has a good coverage grade, although you can get him a little bit, 20 of 25 completions against Von Bell on the season. But Bates, we know, is elite, even though they're saying down in Cincinnati he's having a little bit of a down season. But this is a good defense. And you bring in Mike Hilton, and what Mike Hilton gives you as a nickel is excellent blitzing. Excellent blitzing. He knows how to time that blitz. He's on the season. He's got a sack already. He's got 6 pressures. So when they use that, he's been very effective with it. And then beyond that, you've got guys, and Mike Hilton's very physical in the run game. So they've had good health defensively. You look at their guys. Wilson's played. Everybody's on starter on their depth charts basically played the entire season. They've had excellent health, and they're tough. They're tough down in the red zone. They generate some takeaways. They get after the quarterback with Hendrickson, although he really is the only one that's gotten a ton of pressure for the team. But Larry Ogunjobi, 3.5 sacks. That's right back where he used to be. Remember, he was a 6-sack a year guy. He's on pace for 7. B.J. Hill comes in their sub packages. Rush quarterback, he's got 3 on the interior. It's a full day. They're good up front. Their linebackers have played better than expected, Jermaine Pratt and Logan Wilson. And then on the back end, those additions have really helped this football team. Owuzie, as I said, has played at a very, very high level. And then you've got, as we mentioned, Eli Apple, again, from our days covering the Ohio State Buckeyes, has been very good for them. Coming in from Carolina. And look, he was in New York, first-round pick, goes to New Orleans for a year and a half. He's playing some of his best football right now.
I think he's playing his best football of his career. I mean, he's been a disappointment to this point.
Yeah.
There's been some stuff off the field, but it's all coming together. The way their defense is put together, it's really interesting how well they're playing and how they've kept him in games. You mentioned Sam Hubbard. Do you mind if I relay a story that you told me about Sam Hubbard?
Please do. I love when you retell my stories.
Okay, here's a story that you told me about Sam Hubbard. So he's a fantastic defensive end now. He's a Cincinnati kid, plays at Moeller. Was actually one of the premier lacrosse players in the country in high school, and not a football player.
Much like Jim Brown.
Much like Jim Brown. And Urban Meyer is down there in 2012, as you've told the story to me, and says the lacrosse team is practicing. He said, "Who is that?" He's 6'5", right? Midfielder, All-American. In fact, committed to play lacrosse at Notre Dame with offers with Notre Dame. It was Duke and John Hopkins, all the ones that matter. Going to go play at Notre Dame. Urban said, "Who's that guy?" Football goes, "That's Sam Hubbard. He's one of the best lacrosse players in the country, but we think if he actually played football, he'd be pretty good with some time." Urban said, "Yeah, me too." So they give him a scholarship. He switches, starts to play football. He plays football at Moeller, then, of course, goes to Ohio State. When they bring him in, because at Moeller he played safety. He was a safety. He was 6'5" safety. So he comes in at safety. They play him at tight end. They played him at linebacker, trying to find a spot for him. The first year they would constantly talking about how much they loved him but didn't know what to do with him. Finally, they settle him at defensive end, and the rest, as they would say, is history.
Yeah,
as you know, because of course you told me that story.
I love that story, and I love lacrosse.
I like Ohio
skills.
It does, and I like Ohio kid. I mean, it's a Cincinnati kid playing professionally in Cincinnati, so it's pretty cool.
It is
pretty good, pretty cool. So I want to share that story.
I like that story.
All right. Coming up next, our offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt from the podium. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. When a medical mistake causes you injury, call the medical malpractice attorneys at 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Elk is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. And now here's offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt at the podium.
You have to design the
You guys are down.
without.
This is a little over 7 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to go in and plan for the guys that are going to be there at this point, and that's our focus. I mean, going in to play a really good Cincinnati defense. You know, they added a lot of new faces through free agency. You know, they're playing really well together right now. We're seeing some different scheme that we haven't seen in the past, so big challenge for us to go down there and try to get a win on the road.
There was a ton of tackles on Sunday. Is that something you can exploit?
Yeah, we like our guys with the ball in their hand, for sure. You know, we expect our guys on one-on-one with space and time to break tackles and make guys miss. It's a focus of what we do, so hopefully we can continue to do that moving forward.
Alex, you spent so much time with Baker, and this Odell situation seems to be tough on him because he's caught in the middle of it. How do you think he's doing handling it?
He's great. He's focused. Just left a meeting with him, covering our walkthrough today. You know, had our third down meeting today, went really well. I haven't seen any difference with him as well as far as his preparation goes.
Off of that, Alex, he's your quarterback, so it's case, but like when a video's put out taking shots at him, does that also like offend you at all, or is it all?
Yeah, you know, I don't want to address any of those. I'll direct all those questions to Coach. You know, really just focused in on the task at hand this week, which is large for us, and you know, and the guys that are here right now, I'd be more willing to talk about. But that's where I am with that.
Is it your expectation that, I mean, have you been told he's not in the game?
As of now, again, we're just getting ready for today's practice, and we'll see where that goes from here. But again, just getting the guys ready that are here in the building today to go play on Sunday.
Your passing game last year was so much better, and you know, in the second half of the season, and get everybody back, same system, everything, continuity. Can you put any finger on what's going wrong with it?
I wouldn't say anything's going wrong. Really, I think we completed 75% of our passes last week, which is pretty good in NFL standards. And we had some handling the ball, you know, drop a couple drops that would have added to that and increased that. I think where we need to be is more explosive with our ability to push the ball down the field. As far as, you know, completion percentage and what we're doing, taking care of the football in the pass game, we're doing okay. We need to do better at getting bigger chunks.
So how does that happen?
A lot of different ways. You got to throw it down the field, I think, is one way. Doing it through our play-action game is another way. But we just, whatever it is, we have to find ways to be more explosive through the air.
Can Baker do that accurately on a consistent basis? I know it's the non-throwing shoulder, but it's gotten worse since we last talked to you about it. And there's a new harness on it and everything like that. So
I think he will be. I have no doubts. My confidence in Baker is big. You know, he'll work through that as he goes. You know, the harness he'll continue to get used to that. The more reps he gets with that, so I don't see it as a concern. We just have to find ways to make plays down the field.
After Baker's injury, he talked about his evaluation of how he was playing, and he said the one thing he felt sound on was his footwork. He felt like that was good. How do you feel his footwork is doing and coming along and progressing with that injury?
Sure, that's a big part of his game. I think he's grown strides with his footwork over the last year. And it's definitely a strong point for him right now. He's listening to his feet. He's getting through his progressions, and his feet are really good right now.
Not about this particular situation, but obviously you spent more than a decade basically in this position. So when Baker Mayfield is put in the position to answer these tough questions about whether a teammate is or is not throwing him under the bus, and he handles it the way that he does, what is the statement on who he is as your quarterback, as your leader, whatever? How he?
You know, it's tough on him, I'm sure, but at the same time, he is the leader of this offense, and you know, as he goes, we go. You know, so you know, he's just got to again maintain the laser focus of getting ready for this week and preparing with the guys that are in the building right now for Sunday.
It's understandable. You know, Baker's wearing the harness. There might be limitations in his abilities. So when you're going, he has talked about openly, hey, I have to play better. I missed some throws that I should have made and whatnot. When you're sitting down with him and you're going through film and showing him stuff, do you couch your critique at all because you have an understanding of what he's going through physically to be out there, while at the same time balancing that you do need him to play?
It is a balance. It is for sure. But when it comes to grades, you know, I grade hard on him. So if he misses a ball, it's a minus throw. You know, even if it is a drop and it's high, it's a minus throw, regardless of the circumstances. So production has to still be there, obviously understanding the circumstances.
You guys had to adjust without Odell on the fly last year about this time in Cincinnati. Does that help you going forward, making a similar adjustment?
Again, it's just the guys that are going to be there on Sunday. And I have great confidence in that group of guys. We've done it before, and we'll hopefully prove that we can do it again.
You think the guys that are going to be there on Sunday at Baker's back, believe in him as a quarterback, despite, what's happened this season?
I mind for Baker.
How have you seen Coach Stefanski kind of navigate this week and attempt to make sure this doesn't spiral beyond what it is?
Yeah, no, Kevin's he's the same guy every day, super consistent. Our game plan meetings, we do meet a lot together, and I've not seen anything different from the aspect of game planning for sure.
Does Baker need any shoring up, any extra? Hey, we've got you. This isn't all on you, no matter what somebody's dad says. Any of that?
I don't think so. I'm just laser focused on the task at hand this Sunday.
It seemed like an uncharacteristic fourth quarter for Jarvis. So how do you address that with him, and then how do you think he'll kind of handle that moving forward?
He'll be fine. I have no problems with a couple drop balls. That's it's an anomaly for Jarvis. He's going to catch more than he's going to drop. Unfortunately, they came at a time when we needed it, but that's part of the game. I said in front.
About a minute left, guys.
War, I'd definitely take him in my foxhole all day long. He's a warrior. He's a stud, and he'll rebound just fine.
What about his focus? Because he's kind of caught in the middle of this to some degree as well.
Yeah, he's a pro. I mean, he's going to turn it on. It's game day when the lights come on. I mean, he's going to show up and make plays for us. He has to. That's what we're counting on him to do.
He's a guy that's very, very hard on himself. So what does that look like this week? I mean, is he watching more film? Is he catching more balls? Is he going over things with you more?
Again, Jarvis a pro. He's going to do everything he can to play better this week. There's no doubt.
30 seconds.
Do differently. Again, those drops were rare for him, so it's nothing that I would ever worry myself about. I know he'll make the plays again when the time comes for him to do so.
Alex, how did DPJ look to you coming back from an injury? What kind of workload could he be ready?
Good. We'll see. He came out and did some work yesterday. Hopefully we'll get him more involved later as the week goes on. Obviously hoping to have him ready for Sunday. He does. I said, hey, we need you for the Bengals game because you do good things against the Bengals. So hopefully we'll have him ready for Sunday.
Yeah, he sure does. And I think, we've obviously spent time on other things this week, but in terms of where we are offensively from a health standpoint, Blake Hance in, Jack Conklin out, Donovan Peoples-Jones back, very, very positive there. And, of course, we know we won't have Kareem Hunt. We know we won't have Jack Conklin. Am I missing anybody else on that from the offensive side? Still undetermined, obviously, on Odell.
Yeah, other than that, you're good. Looks like Andy Janovich will be back this week. Johnny Stanton back on the practice squad. So, no, I think you're in good shape there.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that is going to be interesting, and I don't know, I can't imagine, I don't know, who knows, but I think Jarvis talking at some point, whether that's post game Cincinnati or whatever, that's kind of the one, and separate the. Everything that's happened this week on the Odell front, but I mean, you saw how devastated he was Sunday, Jarvis, and
oh yeah,
I mean, you were down there and you saw it, and it's uncharacteristic, and he's the heartbeat of the whole thing. So
yes,
the way the game goes, it's just, boy, folks, everybody out there listening, diehard Browns, obviously, seeing how this looks offensively Sunday is going to be fascinating. It really is, in a must-win situation. So there's a lot to it.
We've had good success down there in Cincinnati under Baker Mayfield, barring the final game of that lost 2019 season. But other than that, it's been a place that he has played very, very well, and hopefully that will continue. It was a game in Cincinnati, a game that was unexpectedly without Odell Beckham Jr. a year ago that really kind of got this offense going, right? And so you have to hope here that's what it can do again. He likes to have his back all against the wall. He likes to have nobody believe in him and doubt what he is capable of doing. And I think with all this going on here, the Browns are in a situation where everybody on this roster is being doubted. You got Dan Orlovsky, a good friend of the show, saying the Browns are the biggest disappointment in the National Football League this year.
I don't know how it could be more than Kansas City, but those would be the two that I think you think of most. I mean, Kansas City.
I think they've been more disappointed, but I think at the same time, to be ahead after the third quarter in 7 of your 8 games and to have that record is not great.
There's no question. It's just, so a lot of our record, a lot of it is injury. A lot of it. And it's significant players of injury. They don't have that type of injury.
But the Ravens do.
Kansas City doesn't.
The Ravens do, though, and they're
No, but the Ravens aren't disappointing.
Right,
We're
but they're
disappointing.
overcoming.
I'm comparing the two disappointing teams, us and Kansas City.
Sure.
They don't have
They
injuries.
have a brand new
We've got a
line.
ton of injuries.
Well,
they also
people,
have
people are picking on Sorensen.
They got a guy who's won an MVP and has won a Super Bowl and is
they're
if you're redrafting, the NFL goes 1. So that's
all
part
I'm saying,
of it too.
My point is that we have
feels like you're hosting Chiefs Daily for a second there.
No, I was in fact I'm more like
In
Ravens
the Chiefs
Daily.
Kingdom.
Really?
That's what they call
Is
it.
he
It's the Chiefs Kingdom.
Has that happened? Where's your enthusiasm defending this franchise?
I have a great zest for it. We need to close games out. That's the bottom line. That's why we are
You
disappointing.
do have a track record of it.
It does. Gibby knows.
Yeah, that's right. By the way, Baker Mayfield.
Go ahead.
Baker Mayfield in Cincinnati. Baker Mayfield in his three career starts in Cincinnati, he has thrown 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and 5 touchdowns. So in 3 games there, that's 12 touchdowns, averaging 4 a game in Cincinnati. His quarterback ratings 144, 79.6, 135.6. His total touchdown interception ratio is 12-4 in Cincinnati. So he has played very well at Paul Brown
Are you
Stadium.
interested in that Sunday?
I would
quite be, right? Yeah. We will the great Z will go one-on-one with Anthony Walker Jr. coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. EOX Vantage has that local presence with the global footprint, trusted by some of the world's biggest brands. Here's a testimonial from EOX Vantage client Ed Scheel. Ed is the vice president of Skyward Specialty Insurance. The tools we've designed with EOX Vantage are real business changers that open the door for us to all sorts of valuable opportunities and efficiencies. They help our team members stay on the same page while collaborating remotely, make it easy to communicate with customers, cut way down on manual data entry and the associated input errors, and cut hours off of processes and response times. Operationally, it is a brand new ball game for us, and it can be for you too. We encourage you to learn more about EOX Vantage by visiting www.eoxvantage.com. And now here's Z with our linebacker, Anthony Walker.
Very happy now to be
You're down.
linebacker Anthony Walker Jr. And Anthony, last week, obviously, a good defensive performance, a disappointing outcome. You know, where do you guys take away from that? And also your first kind of taste of Browns Steelers as a member of the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, definitely first taste of the rivalry. Obviously, that game was physical, as expected. Came down to the wire, and, you know, both teams having to make plays or, you know, not make plays. And I don't think we made enough defensively, offensively, or special teams-wise. So, you know, you win as a team, you lose as a team. We did some good things in all three phases, but defensively, we didn't make enough plays, to win, help our team win the game. So, obviously, there are some positives as there is in every game, but we got work to do. We understand that, and the light has to click on right now. Pretty much in fight mode right now. Playoff mode right now.
Let's go with something that did go well. They ran a fake field goal against you guys. I have enjoyed watching that play back many, many times, and not probably for the reasons most people would think, but watching you, because as soon as they send that guy in motion, you are literally 10 feet off of the ground, waving your hands. What was kind of the preparation for that? Clearly, once you saw it, you recognized it, you drop back. Grant comes from the other side. You end up with 4 guys in coverage on 2 guys with a punter or a kicker trying to throw the ball. What was it that you guys had studied and been prepared for that play?
Yeah, Coach Preeve does a great job letting us know, what could happen. And obviously field goal, it's very rare that you get a fake out of it. So you want to be on your P's and Q's. It's kind of hard to run a field goal formation without a wing. I haven't seen it done many times, if that ever been done. So obviously I knew something was up. Just wanted to put us in the best call possible. Make sure everybody was covered. That was kind of, my thing with Grant, making sure he got over. So I could kind of play in between, then, be able to go get the quarterback late. And then Greg did a great job covering his guy. And then the guys kept rushing, and we were able to get a hit on the kicker as well. So all 11 guys is working together, executing, our preparation, and it worked out for us.
At any level in your life, have you ever seen somebody go in motion on a field goal?
Not on the field goal. Actually, when I played in Indy, we had a formation very, very similar to that, and we actually kicked it. So it kind of gets the team out of their normal field goal block situation and put them on high alert. So when they motioned, I knew something was up. Obviously, yeah, you can't. It's hard to actually kick the ball like that. So, you kind of shorten the edge for the guy coming off the edge. So just wanted to make sure, like I said, we were in the right call for that situation, and then everybody just went out and executed.
I remember because I was on the sideline and I watched it as it happened, and I'm like, they're doing something. Like, I don't know what they're doing.
Something. I didn't know what it was, but they're doing something. Yeah.
Right, which makes it an interesting design because it immediately is putting everybody on alert that something's going on, and you guys handled it very well. Have you ever seen Coach Prefer as happy as you did after that? I thought he was going to knock somebody to the ground. I mean, he was fired up.
No, he was happy. He literally came to me. He was like even today, he was like, man, that was one of the best plays I've ever seen on special teams. Just your awareness and all that stuff. I'm like, Coach, you prepared us for it. This is the number one thing we talk about every Friday. Anything that doesn't look right, put us in the best position. And, I just did what I was supposed to do.
And you did that very, very well. Let's talk about the defense. Again, you hold them to 15 points. You got off the field in some very key situations. You guys were very good on third down this week. You say you need to make a few more plays, and I'd argue, like, Ronnie made that play, it's just kind of an unbelievable one on that fourth down, but it's been kind of one play here, one play there that if, you go back to the Chargers game, it's similar situations like that end up having that impact. So you said, we've got to just do it. What can you do How do you kind of flip that switch to be the team making those plays?
I think, you got to get out the mindset of 15 points, we should win, or, you hold a team to this, we should win. That we do well on this, we should win. And that's not the case all the time. Yeah. I grew up, in the, offensive household with my dad being the offensive coordinator. But, I used to always tell him, like, don't worry about, scoring so many points as much as, just scoring enough. At the end of the day, that's all you want to do. And offensively, defensively, special teams, whatever it takes for us to get the win. If it's 3-2, I'm excited. If it's 100-99, we win the game. Listen, I'm the exact same excited. Maybe now there are a few things we need to correct, but I'm still excited. So, you talk about being and I'm just going to point to the defense here. You talk about being an elite defense. You talk about being a championship defense, a Super Bowl winning defense. I always go back to the 2000 Ravens, and I know the game has changed a lot and it's not as much, run formations and all that stuff, a lot of speed and space. I get it. A lot of athletes, I get it. But you go back and you watch that defense and you see what they were able to do. I don't think nobody would say they had the best offense or, the best quarterback or whatever it is, sure. But they played great team defense, So you got to hold a team to 0 points. You got to hold a team to 7 or 10. Like I said, we should have won that game. In my honest opinion, we should have won that game 10-6 or 10-9. At the end of the day, I thought that would have been a final score. And that's what an elite defense does. You find a way no matter what. The offense has bailed us out a lot of times this year. KC putting up all the points. LA putting up all the points. So we got to find a way. And we've done that before. Minnesota. I'm not saying it's something that we couldn't do. Sure. We did against Minnesota. We went 14-7.
Yep.
That's NFL. That's championship defense right there. And I think that's what we got to get consistent at doing that. And that starts with me, up front, in the middle, making sure everybody's on the same page. I had a bad missed tackle that led to an explosive pass out the backfield. I had a blown coverage, that led to the tight end being wide open in the middle of the field. So, like I said, it just you can't say, oh, this is the play that beat us. But in my mind, it is. That's the play I have to make so that we're not in the situation that we are in. Obviously, like you said, Ronnie could have made the play on 4th and 2. He did make the play.
He did, yeah.
But that was a great play by, a great player. He get paid too. I always say it's the NFL. They're going to make some plays. We got to make plays. But, if we want to go to that next level and be that next level of defense, we got to start making those plays.
Yeah, and I think for you, coming from Indy where you guys were able to achieve, I think you guys were a pretty dominant defense for a few years there in Indy. Is it really just kind of how much of it is belief and how much of it is, all right, we know we're going to do this assignment sound and let's just go out and execute?
Well, a lot of people, and I just talked to my dad about this, a lot of people don't even know when my second year in Indy, when we got a new staff and everything, and Coach Flus, we were 1-5 and we were playing terrible defense. We were giving up, almost 30 points a game.
Yeah.
And then we, the light kind of switched that week of we're 1-5 now. We have nowhere to go but up, and we went, skyrocketed. So this is the kind of feel that that gives me. This is like we're 4-4. What better opportunity now to take that step and just let it flow from now on? The light has to click on now. We have to go now and just let it run. Just let it run. We have nothing to lose. We got just let it go. Let everybody just open the I forgot what the vault. Open the vault and just let it flow and we'll be good. And I think you talk about belief and understanding and trusting in one another. I think we're at that point where we're at that point. It's just time to let it loose and just play ball.
I mean, you look at the 4 wins you guys give up in the 4 wins, 12 points a game and 200 yards of offense, 211 yards of offense. And then you take last week, you only give up 15. I know that doesn't count in the win column, but I mean, you have had more what I would call dominant defensive games than you have not. And as you said, it's about that consistency. What's kind of the mood on that side of the ball? Since you came in here, you've been the leader, unquestioned. What's kind of the mood on that side of the ball? Because there is so much talent there, and it feels, like you said, ready to really springboard and do that.
Yeah, this is the time. Everybody understands this is the time. This is the time now. We got to go now. There's no way. There's no waiting, no more, I should have did this, I should have did that. We got to go right now. Play. Don't do anything different. Just play. Everybody just play their game. Let's get the call. Let's execute. Everybody do their job, and then we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Trust me. I've seen this before. Obviously, like I said, being 1-5, we're in a way better position than we were then. So 4-4, everything, nothing's dead. You know what I'm saying? We talked about it. We're not flinching. We're ready to go, and we're ready for Sunday.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that you guys very much control your own destiny. You got 5 more games in the division out of the last 9. 8 of the next 9 are against teams that either are right now positioned to represent the playoffs, either in the AFC or the one, obviously, with the Packers in the NFC. So it very much is there. Let's talk about this Bengals team real quickly. Joe Burrow, they've got the 3 great receivers led by Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. They've got Tyler Boyd. Their tight end, CJ Uzoma's had some nice games, and they got a true 3-down, do-it-all running back in Mixon. What kind of challenges do they present?
Yeah, like you said, you got a great quarterback, great young nucleus all around them. They stretch the field vertically and horizontally. With the run game, pass game, screen game, everything like that. So yeah, we just got again, this comes down to alignment, assignment, execution. Play the right technique, and we'll be fine. Obviously they're a great team. We got to make sure we're on our A game, and it's going to be another physical battle. This is what the AFC North is.
I know kind of coming out of that mini bye, turnovers were a big deal, and you guys almost got your hands on one. Unfortunately, threw it to 2 Browns at the same time who collided and didn't get that one. But, it's one thing to stress. How do you guys kind of get back to generating a few more turnovers per game? Is it luck? I mean, in some ways.
I say that a little bit. Sometimes the ball just bounces your way. It just happens like that. And then sometimes you just got to go out and create them. I think once we get one, right now, I think it starts to flow. I think it just starts to flow. We gotta create it though. We gotta be as violent, assaulting the ball when the runner has it, and then we gotta go get the ball when it's in the air, when it's in the air, and then strip sacks. We got some of the best guys to ever do that. So we just got to put it on display, and the ball will start to bounce our way.
In a week like this where you kind of said, look, we all know now is the time, green light, it's kind of us against the world, empty the vault, all of those things. Is there something about going on the road in a division game that kind of galvanizes you, where going into that 1 minute is all about us? Everybody's there, and of course Browns fans travel phenomenally well. There will be plenty of Browns fans, but that you're kind of going on the road where it's everybody against us. Let's just go out there. We've got each other's backs, and let's go be the team that we can be.
Oh, no doubt about it. It's a great test for us. Cincinnati's been playing great ball all year. Obviously coming off a disappointing loss, but they're still a great team. We know what we have to face this week. This is for me, this is our Super Bowl. It starts right now. Every game, means a lot. Obviously this is the next game, so it means that much more. But we're ready. We're going to be ready to go. Going there, like you said, it's a hostile environment. Like you said, Browns fans travel well, so I'm not worried about that. But we got to go in there. We got to handle our business.
Absolutely. Anthony, thank you so much for the time. It is great
10 seconds
on this team, your leadership, and obviously I feel like the calm and we're just going to do it. It's time, and we're going to do it.
You're hot.
Attitude. So thanks so much, and best of luck.
Gotcha. No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right, great stuff out of Z and Anthony Walker Jr. If you're buying or selling a home with Howard Hanna Real Estate Services, they're going to have you covered with that winning strategy. If you plan to make a move this season, they'll take care of you. At Howard Hanna, every game day is game day. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. We'll meet our defense against their offense coming up next behind enemy lines in about 15 minutes with Jeff Hobson. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans can win big with the digital scratch-off game brought to you by Ohio Lottery on clevelandbrowns.com and the Browns social channels. Fans can play once per day throughout the season by digitally scratching off a virtual card for chances to win great prizes like Team Shop gift cards and tickets to future games. For more information, log on to promotions.clevelandbrowns.com. Real quick, before we do our defense versus their offense, we've talked a little bit about that already this week. This thing in Green Bay is pretty wild. So Rodgers used the word immunized, which at the least is misleading. Did you see the Hoff? I did. The takedown.
Did you have your coffee this morning? I'm caffeinated.
But here's the thing that's crazy about this is both the NFL and the Packers knew that he was not vaccinated.
Right.
And he behaved as a vaccinated player.
Right.
No mask in front of media.
Apparently that was only publicly, but in private he was
well.
In private he was conducting himself.
Yeah.
Well.
Those aren't good optics.
Matt LaFleur, don't call me Peter, said today, as far as the football space is concerned, I'm 100% confident on the team following COVID-19 protocols. Well, no, I don't think he did because you're supposed to have a mask on when you come off the field, right? If you're not vaccinated, and that part of the deal. You're supposed to have masks when you meet the media or you Zoom. That's not happening.
It feels like to me that this is
I'm the captain now, Irish, is what it seems like to me.
And I don't think he wants to alienate his quarterback when there's already been tons of alienation that's happened.
Well, he allowed it. They all allowed it. The NFL allowed it.
Of course.
They all looked the other way.
Of course.
The one thing I would say that I'm surprised the NFL did on this that I think could have been avoided is they should have just said before the year that we're not going to address our players are not going to address vaccination status with the media. It's a personal choice. That would have solved it. And you would have known. Light would have been shined on it anyway because of the way that the mouth, just like this with Rodgers. The only reason we know he's not vaccinated is because he's out till next Saturday. If he was vaccinated, theoretically he could have played this weekend. Because we don't know if he's symptomatic or not. So the light would have been shown on it.
Why get into it? Dice. He could have declined to answer. He didn't have to answer. He chose to answer in a very particular way.
A universal thing of
if you don't answer, you're considered.
Right. Agreed, Gibby. I think if the league would have come out and the NFLPA said, "Look, we're not going to address the status of our athletes' vaccination
this is a HIPAA
status
thing,
right? It's just we're not going to address it. If you ask it, our people are going to decline it, and then that's it. We're not going to get into it. And instead, you got this. It's wild. All right, let's do our defense versus their offense.
All right, this is a very, very good offense of the Cincinnati Bengals. I think we are all well aware of that at this point. Joe Burrow playing at an MVP level, leading this offense down the field. They're scoring 27.5 points per game. That's seventh most in the NFL. So they have been very efficient, especially in scoring situations. And you go in and you take a look at some of their numbers when they get down into those scoring areas, which would be, of course, the red zone. The Bengals have scored a touchdown on 70% of their red zone trips. That is fifth best in the NFL. They are 14th defensively, but fifth best in the NFL in terms of touchdown percent. By comparison, the Browns scoring touchdowns on 55% of their red zone trips, 23rd in the NFL. So that is a critical number and juncture and an important piece of this because the red zone has been unkind to the Browns. Browns have 6 trips into an opponent's red zone where they have not come away with any points. And those are all 6 failed fourth down conversions through 8 games. Burrow on the season, 2,215 yards, 9 yards per attempt, 20 touchdowns, 9 picks. Jamar Chase, as we've noted, has more receiving yards than the top three receivers on the Browns combined at 786, which is really a remarkable number. And you think about the fact that here he is as a rookie coming out here and putting up these numbers, which would seem otherwise otherworldly, except for the fact that your gangster friend Kyle has managed to get Deebo Samuel to 819 and Cooper Kupp's at 924 and 10 touchdowns.
Cooper Kupp is having the best start to a season by a receiver since Jerry Rice. I don't know that people are aware of that.
Jerry Rice is on one of those things that Joe Montana's in, that elite club of the gridiron greats that Steve Young's not a part of.
Do you think people are aware of that?
No, I wasn't even aware of
like
that.
Not Randy Moss, not Megatron.
Not even Moss's bonkers years?
No. Best start to a season by a receiver since Jerry Rice in 1990, I believe.
Let's put this in perspective. Were this to be a 16-game season, he is on pace currently for 1,848 yards and 20 touchdowns, which sounds like Jerry Rice.
Yeah.
Or bonkers Moss.
Yes. That's Moss at the Patriots or Rice in the Rice did that about 6 times, it feels like. But yeah.
So he leads in yards, his touchdowns 10. Second place is DK Metcalf, Mike Evans at 8, by the way, for those keeping track. But nonetheless, what we're talking about is Jamar Chase. He's got 7 on the season, 786 yards, 7 touchdowns. But here's the thing, big play threat. Do you know who leads the NFL in receptions of more than 40 yards this year?
Jamar Chase?
That's right. Jamar Chase does. He has 6 of them, long of 82 yards. He has been dynamic. He has been electric. He has been all of those things for this team.
Looking at his game log, he's got an 82-yarder, a 53-yarder, a 70-yarder, another 50-yarder, a 44, a 42.
Well, he's got 200 against the Ravens.
No, I'm saying those are receptions.
The longest catch.
Yes, the longest catch.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. He's got 8 for 201 against the Ravens. He had 6 for 159 against Green Bay. But, I mean, I'm saying the longest catch. He had an 82-yard catch against Baltimore, 53 against Detroit, 70 against Green Bay, 44 against Jacksonville, 34 against Pittsburgh, 42 against Chicago, 50 against Minnesota. In fact, last week was the 21 where he had the quiet day against the Jets. Other than that, the shortest catch he had in the game was 34 yards.
So he has had that's 6 out of the 8 games. He's had a
bombs
big play
over Baghdad,
over 40 yards, and he leads the league in that respect. And by the way, Tyler Boyd works the underneath very well. 37, 398, and 2. T. Higgins 29, 353, and 2. And then you have Mixon 578 yards, 572 yards rushing. And let's not forget, Mixon really wasn't much of a factor in that kind of the Week 5 game against Green Bay where he got dinged up. Now, he hasn't missed any time this year. He's played in all 8 games, and he's basically given you 100 total yards and a touchdown a game. He's been spectacular for them. He has not rushed, though, the last 2 weeks for 60 yards or more, but he's dangerous out of the backfield. 5 for 59 and a touchdown against Detroit, 4 for 58 and a touchdown against the Jets. So what do you do with this team? Well, here's the bottom line. You must pressure and disrupt Joe Burrow. Burrow in 2021, 72% of his passes from a clean pocket, 1,774 yards, 15 touchdowns. That means that he is third in the NFL in yards, touchdowns, yards per attempt from a clean pocket, 9.3. He's 6th in PFF passing grade from a clean pocket, 7th in quarterback rating. And against the blitz, he is the number 1 graded Pro Football Focus quarterback against the blitz. And he, right now, leads the NFL with 825 yards passing against the blitz and 2nd with 11 touchdowns. They will play a lot of empty set, where they put the ball in his hands and say, can you match up with the names that I just mentioned? Uzoma's had a great year. How do you disrupt them? You must get pressure. Here's the thing. Riley Reif, who the Browns know very well, our coach Kevin Stefanski was with him in Minnesota, so he should have some idea of how to disrupt him. He's been, and the other tackle, Jonah Williams, they've been charged with a combined 7 sacks, 28 pressures thus far, and then the center. This is where getting Malik Jackson back is huge, and Malik McDowell today at practice. Trey Hopkins has allowed the most sacks of any center this year in the NFL with 3. He has the 3rd worst pass blocking grade among all centers in the league. When you can disrupt Burrow, it is that pressure up the middle, and hopefully that's what the Maliks are going to be able to provide today, because when you can get him in the middle of the field with pressure in his face, that's where he throws his interceptions. 5 picks in the middle of the field, the majority of which have come while under duress. So that's what you got to do.
Good job out of you. Good job out of you.
Mark it, dude. It was a good job out of me. Thank you. I appreciate that. I also think Tack McKinley being back is a big deal today. Tack's been very, very effective getting after the quarterback. I know you hate it.
I was like no-hitter for 2 years.
Yeah,
it's like no-hitter for 2 years.
The on-air light is not linked to anything, which, by the way, that would help.
Well, I mean, the light's back up there, and Zegura's in charge of it, Mr. Light Boy. And how'd that go? Didn't help out your fellow man. Well done.
Light Boy? What does this have to do with me?
Was the light on?
Every opportunity.
It doesn't even matter.
No, was the light on?
Hasn't been on all show. It didn't stop him in the other segments.
No, I blew. It's on me. I'll take the heat. I'll take the heat for it. Our great friend Jeff Hobson up next. Bengals.com senior writer behind Enemy Lines. Cleveland Browns Daily 850 ESPN Cleveland. Rumpke Waste Recycling, family-owned and operated. Whether you join them as a customer or as an employee, you'll become part of the family. Visit rumpke.com to learn more. With that, we head out on the hotline for a visit with our great friend Jeff Hobson, Bengals.com senior writer, to preview this Battle of Ohio that has so much on the line. 4-4 Browns, 5-3 Bengals. I think both teams probably thought they were going to win last weekend. Neither one did, and so here's where we are. Big picture, what we've seen through 8 games from Cincinnati, just awfully impressed with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and everything that's happening offensively. But, Jeff, it's been the defense that has been a little surprising to me. Has it been for you?
No, not surprising, given the money they invested in it. And it's nice to see Bengals couldn't block Larry Ogunjobi for 4 years, and nobody's been able to block him here either now that he is a Bengal. So none of this is really surprising. They're better on defense. They had to be because of the money they invested in it. That's really what has got them at 5-3. The offense is still, despite the numbers, you wonder how good it could be because they're still grappling for consistency. And except for the Jets game, the defense has been there to bail them out of some tough spots. So, I would tend to agree with you. The defense is what is the biggest difference in this team from last year to this year.
Who's standing out for you on this defense, whether it's a new acquisition or somebody who's kind of taken the next step?
Well, I just said Ogunjobi. He's been great in the locker room and on the field.
Great guy.
Awuzie, the cornerback they got from Dallas, has been playing big-time football. I mean, he's got that. He's been playing probably the best corner around here, since, the days of some of those guys, the Leon Hall days. Probably. That's how well he's been playing. Logan Wilson, the second-year linebacker, a third-round pick in the Burrow class. Except for last Sunday, he's done pretty well. But the guy, I tell you, the guy who just makes your eyes bulge out is Hendrickson, the edge player they got from New Orleans. He's the richest Bengal in free agent history. And the guy next to him, DJ Reader, the nose tackle, he's the second richest. And both of those guys are paying off. Hendrickson gives great effort against the pass and the run, and Reader has been terrific absorbing double teams. Remember, this club was the previous 3 years, nobody had given up more yards on the ground than the Bengals. This year, they're ranked 7th against the rush.
Boy, Jeff, the other side of the ball is let's be real honest. If you're going to win a Super Bowl in this league, you got to have a franchise quarterback. You got to be dynamic offensively, and they are that. You've got a franchise quarterback in Joe Burrow. Jeff, what strikes me about him in year 2, and I think we just knew it because we saw it before the injury, but you just wonder how he would come back for it. But the layups are layups. Everything easy is. And then he is such a willing passer. He is so willing to throw the ball down the field. There are times when it doesn't even feel like Jamar has a step, but he trusts that he's going to get that step as the ball is in the air and create that separation and make plays. He's an incredibly anticipatory thrower. What are you seeing in Joe? Has he exceeded even what you thought he could be in year 2 coming off the injury?
No, I mean, the guy's legit. I mean, I think we saw that last year against with a lesser offense than they got now. I mean, the guy's he worked on his arm strength over the off season. He worked on his mechanics a little bit to get some more zip, and that's pretty obvious. But the thing to me is just when the knee is okay, and it's going to be better next year because they always say the knee is an ACL is better 2 years after than the first year. But the plays he's making out of the pocket, for years this franchise has had their back broken by broken plays, starting with Roethlisberger, and Jackson and Watson and these guys who would just kill them out of the pocket. Now they finally got a guy that can answer. Baker is a guy that has done that to the Bengals in the past, has killed them with the out of pocket scramble drill stuff. Baker's very good at that stuff too, and now they finally have a guy that can answer that. But I think the biggest thing with Burrow too is he knows he's the face of the franchise. He's got that charisma in the locker room. He commands great respect, and that's huge in this league, as you guys know. And he's got it. He's got that. Probably the best leader I've seen here since the greatest locker room leader of all time, in Boomer Esiason. He's got that. He's got that way about him. And they're going to need. They're going to need him this week because. not a great matchup for this offense. Cleveland's got that powerful front seven, and that's Bengals have had a difficult time with those physical fronts, and they're going to need another big game from Joe today to get that challenge.
And talk about this line and how it's done. I know there's been some struggles on the edges, and certainly the center has had his problems in pass protection, but it hasn't slowed down an offense. It's putting up 27.5 points per game.
Well, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder if they, because they are going through. I think they feel pretty good about their edge players, although nobody feels very good about going against Myles Garrett.
Sure.
I think you'd rather bang your head against the wall than face that guy. But I think they're in transition in the interior. Trey Hopkins is coming back. The center is coming back from an ACL of his own. So they're trying to get some rhythm there in the interior. I think they like what Jonah Williams and Riley Reef are giving them a tackle. They like to. I think the more Hopkins plays, I think probably the better he gets. But he's still trying to find his way. You got a rookie at right guard. Spain's been terrific at left guard, but they're still trying to shore up some things there.
Jeff, how did Jamar Chase get? I mean, he's obviously one of the most dynamic players in all of the NFL in his rookie season, but the drops in camp, that was real, wasn't made up. That was happening. But how did he get to a point where there was that press conference, and you were down there, better than us, but we'd get news of that press conference. He was like, boy, I just can't see the ball right, and all of those things. Felt like it was in his head a little bit. And then he comes out, and he's just been one of the best, honestly, offensive weapons in all of football. How did he get through that? And how did he get to the point where he's having the impact he's having?
Well, one is he's a stud. I mean, he's a great
helps.
player. That's the first thing. The other thing is, too, I think he's well coached. Wide receivers coach Troy Walters, the assistant wide receivers coach Brad Crabthorpe actually worked with him at LSU. Troy was a long-time receiver in the NFL with the backup receiver. He was the offensive coordinator at Stanford. Good young coach, so I think that helped. And being with Burrow, I mean, I think that's a huge thing. I mean, I think, that was easy to settle down with number 9 back there, a familiar guy, not only a familiar guy, but a guy he's had great success with, and clearly a guy that he has chemistry with. I mean, that's why you take the guy where you did. I think 99 out of 100 times, if you got a 6-foot wide receiver, no matter how good he is, and you got a big-time left tackle and a franchise quarterback, I think probably 99 out of 100 times you're going to take the left tackle. But how many times do you hook up a Heisman Trophy award winner with a Blitnikoff award winner that had such great chemistry? It's a no-brainer. It's a can't miss, and that's a major reason he's got. I think he's had the second fastest start in Bengals history of any receiver, and they've had some great receivers here. Only A.J. Green's 2016 is better, and a big reason is he's throwing. He's got his guy throwing to him. So I think those are probably 3 things. The guy's a stud, the coaching, and Burrow.
Those are three very good things, and starting with being a stud and having Joe Burrow. But you also have Boyd. You also have Higgins. You got Joe Mixon giving you about 100 total yards and a touchdown per game. This offense, do you feel like it's still ascending? And if so, I think that's very scary for defense. Not to mention Uzoma's having a nice year, 5 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, they got to be consistent. They got to get more consistent running the ball. That's why I think this is a tough matchup for them with the Browns. The Browns got a terrific defense, and they also I think the Browns have the kind of offense that the Bengals would hope to have at some point. Great ball control offense, the ability to run the ball, and that's what what the Bengals would like to evolve to. But there's no question, terrific weapons in the pass game. Uzomah has been, he had Joe Burrow threw his first NFL touchdown pass ever to Uzomah up in Cleveland in that Thursday night game, and then lost him. And then in the next quarter, lost him for the year with an Achilles.
Yep.
Well, they've come back. He's come back. They still got the great chemistry that they had last year. So the question is not are these kind of guys. The question is Sunday, can they protect him?
Yep.
That's the question, because if they can protect him, they'll make some plays, obviously. But biggest challenge of the season, I think, for this young offensive line. Garrett over there is a werewolf. He is a great player. Garrett is legitimately a great player, and Clowney is a fine player as well. Biggest challenge of the season for this for these tackles, for Jonah Williams and Riley Reef. I mean, I can't say enough about Garrett. I mean, that guy, he's not only can he sack you, but he can strip you.
Yeah, he did that last year, both games against Burrow and the Bengals. Talk with Jeff Hobson. Jeff, can you kind of take us through? Obviously, we don't get the chance to watch the entire league, but what happened in New York in a game where the Bengals were up, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think 11 in the fourth quarter, and you would have thought that would have been an easy put away for them.
Yeah, that should have been. You got to win that game. Burrow scrambles on 3rd and 4. Boyd breaks off a pattern. Great play. They're up. It's 10-yard touchdown pass. 7:29 left. They're up 11. And but that's where I think kind of not being able to have a consistent running game comes back to bite you. They opted to run a screen, and I can understand why they did that, because they hadn't run the ball well. They hadn't run the ball all day very well. They thought they could pop a screen, but it got intercepted, and that's the kind of stuff that happens when you don't have anything you can hang your hat on there, trying to drain the clock. So I think that's what happened. And it's the first time all year the defense didn't bail them out, and they've had and that's going to happen. I mean, it's you're going to have days like that. You just hope you don't have as many like that. But I think that's pretty much it. They couldn't melt the clock with 7:29 left, and the defense couldn't get the ball back for them.
Jeff, opportunity here to go 3-0 in the division with wins over the 3 other teams in the division for Cincinnati. That's heady stuff. Is there juice down there for this game on Sunday?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, fellas, we can count it on our hands how many times since the Browns came back in '99. How many times in November have these two clubs been 500 or better? I think the great Tony Grossi reminded me 2014, I believe, the Thursday night game
yep.
When Andy Dalton had the two passer rating or whatever it was, and and Hoyer had the big game, and that might be the only time since '99 that's happened. So yeah, there's just anytime to get these two clubs in the stadium founded by the man that founded both of them, I think it always means something. But then with the two of them, and then you get the great thing with Baker and Burrow, 2 overall number 1 picks going at each other, and how important it is for both teams. I mean, I know I guess the coach up there was talking about they're desperate. Well, why don't you go down the road here? This team is trying to get into the bye. They're trying to get into the bye breathing, after what happened in New York. So I think both clubs are desperate, and the Bengals, they got to get this one. They got to get to 3-0, because the last thing you want to do in the AFC North is get into into one of those classic tractor pulls where you got to rely on, where everybody's 2-1 or 1-2, and we've all been there, and it's tough to when your fate is in other teams' hands. It gets tough. So. If the Browns are saying they're desperate, the Bengals are saying they're desperate.
Well, that makes for a very, very fun Sunday. Jeff, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate you, pal.
Guys, thanks very much. See you Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. The great Jeff Hobson, Bengals.com, senior writer, to preview what should be a very, very interesting and important Battle of Ohio on Sunday. Still so much more to come. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And the Kevin Stefanski Show broadcasts live from Grayton Road Tavern, presented by our friends at Bud Light. Join Z and me, 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Giveaways, drink specials. Browns legend Hanford Dixon. That's tonight at 7. The Kevin Stefanski Show live from Grayton Road Tavern, presented by Bud Light. Do you know what? Last week we had a great giveaway. It was a 6. We had a 6 autograph football at the end.
The Duke.
Yeah, we had a 6 autograph Duke.
That's right.
Did you throw it, or did they came and got it?
No, they came and got it. In fact, I think they sent.
Oh yeah, they did.
Like an emissary.
Good word.
Thank you.
Yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, for the handoff. So we'll have something like that
tonight.
Oh yeah, something. I can't confirm what it is, but we know something will be handed out tonight. And I look forward to seeing you again on the west side of Cleveland in about 4 hours.
No place I'd rather be.
I do like Grayton Road Tavern. That's good.
It's awesome.
I love me some Bud Light, so that's a win for everybody. Who doesn't? We've got a game tonight. Jets and Colts is tonight on Thursday Night Football. 10.5.
What?
10.5.
I see 10. However.
Well, please, let's do that. Let's do 10. I'd take 10.
Sure.
Or do you want to go the other way? So you want the
Don't get to change the rules. It's 10.5.
I like the fact that we've been trying to get Gibby's attention for 15 minutes on various things about the show, that as soon as you ask a question about a line, he's paying right attention. He's ready.
Why is that what locks him in? Unbelievable. Just remember, folks, it's Thursday night, and you're feeling Mike White. Jets, 24. Colts, 30 on a Thursday night. Same.
30.
We're back tomorrow on a football
no
front.
choice but to say so.
It's Thursday. Everybody
right.
knows.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows. We'll see you tonight out at Grayton Road Tavern. We're back tomorrow. The Next Level coming up next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.